Democrats tonight were so pathetic, they couldn't even stand for Laken Riley's family. Jocelyn Nungary, his mother, a slain officer's wife, Stephanie Diller. They couldn't even stand for a beautiful 13-year-old cancer survivor who dreams of being a police officer and tonight became a Secret Service agent, DJ Daniel. He said, "This is my 5th time at a joint address from President Trump. And sadly, there is nothing this president could do or say that would make these Democrats stand and cheer. This has now become a party of rage and hate, a radicalized party reduced to a collective temper tantrum, sitting on their hands, doing nothing for the American people. But tonight, this is also a defeated party. No solutions, no coherent message, no plan for the future, simply reduced to political stunts and smears and outright lies."
President Donald Trump's joint address to Congress exposes the hate of the Democratic Party. Polls show the astounding support that the White House has built up, and mainstream media turns the table as their messaging toward the left has completely changed. That goes for President Joe Biden too, as they're putting him on blast. Now, I got a lot of bad news for Democrats in today's video, so if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, please take a second, hit the like button for the video, and subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get right ahead and start with MSNBC and those bingo signs. Did you see that? Like, not even one standing ovation from Democrats for grieving families, slain police officers, or even a 13-year-old cancer survivor who dreams of becoming a police officer. Just dead silence. Cold. Pathetic. The party of comparison has been reduced to a temper tantrum, sitting on their hands while President Trump laid out a vision for America's future. No solutions, no ideas, just pure rage and hate. And now even mainstream media is turning on them. Yes, even MSNBC is putting Biden on blast. This is a wake-up call. Are the Democrats just too far gone at this point? Type "they're finished" if you think that the party is collapsing, guys. Or type "it's all Trump's fault" if you think that they had a reason to sit down. You already know where I stand, though.
Thank you, Simone.
Can we talk about it?
The bingo signs were killing me. I don't know who thought up the bingo signs, but they should be fired.
Michael, this is an indictment, in my opinion, on the Democratic leadership. I talked to a lot of members during they was texting. The staff were on my phones and they were calling. And I think the best way to describe it is the Democratic leadership said they didn't want disruptions and they wanted people to attend and bring a guest, and they wanted, little business as usual, and we're fighting back in other ways. There is a palpable disgust, as Claire said, from not just the members, but their constituents. And it's like a pot, as someone described it to me, that's boiling, and it's about to bubble over. If you do not allow the members a space to release valve, it's going to bubble over. And the visuals are not taking back the House in 2026. Not these visuals.
And that's coming from MSNBC, guys, one of the most liberal news outlets out there. If your biggest supporter suddenly changes its tune, then that's probably bad news. Now, besides them, even CNN was surprised with how Democrats carried themselves throughout this event. Watch.
Look at what's happening. The Democrats are not even acknowledging the cabinet right now. I just don't remember that being standard. At least they would get up and shake their hands.
Just the visual here that
they're not engaging. This is not a pathway forward to bipartisanship.
They keep talking about President Trump and his narcissism. I bet you they don't even know what narcissism means, how it always has to be about him. But if you've been following Trump's political career, that couldn't be further from the truth. The truth is that President Trump has always kept his focus on the American people, and his address to Congress proved this. Democrats, on the other hand, prove that they don't give a rat's ass about the American people. Unless they're in power, they're going to keep trying to stop this White House, even though what's being done is for the best of the people of this country. So they really don't want America to win. They just want Trump to lose. Americans, on the other hand, were pretty happy with the president's address. Around 70% of people who watched his speech had a positive response to it. 44% had a very positive response to what the president had to say. And in a poll taken before the speech, around 60% of the country approved of his handling of the presidency. What do you guys think? Do you approve of what Trump is doing with the country so far? I mean, it's only like 6 weeks, but let me know down in the comments. Now, I want to go to Scott Jennings real quick, because even his co-hosts at CNN are agreeing with him and with his take, which is really shocking. And you all know that Jennings is not a fan of the Democratic Party. Watch.
This was a horrific night for the opposition party, regardless of how well she just spoke. It started out with Al Green getting thrown off the House floor because he couldn't keep his emotions under control. Then they had the ridiculous paddles, which now social media is roasting.
That you said false on one side and
ridiculous.
Elon on
and
the
then
other.
finally, and maybe most terribly, the Democrats who couldn't find it in their heart to stand for objectively good things, including the 95-year-old mother of Mark Fogel and Mark, who got rescued from a Russian prison, and they couldn't even stand up for that. I thought Democrats came into this speech lost and defeated by Donald Trump, and today it looks to me like they're even more lost and even more defeated than when this speech started.
Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below. If she's disappointed in herself for feeling joy about this child. And this best sums up the message of the Democratic Party, because none of them stood up for DJ at all, which shows you just how much they hate President Trump. They're willing to take it out on a 13-year-old. And so that brings me to former President Joe Biden. Former NBC host Chuck Todd has just thrown the big guy under the bus, and then he hit the gas. And it's kind of weird now because they seem to be much more inclined to tell the truth about him.
It is time for them to move on from Schumer. But this is why I go back and say the Democratic Party's, Joe Biden never should have been there in the first place. Right. Number one, he shouldn't have run for president. I completely got so angry at Joe Biden, the man, when I read the transcript of the Hunter Biden trial. And when I realized that not one, not two, but three Biden children, and I count Bo's widow, were all dealing with drug problems in 2018. And Joe Biden said, now's a perfect time to run for president because who cares about our family? I have to tell you something about Joe Biden. There's this mythology about Joe Biden that the man cared so much. It's all bullshit. This man supposedly cared so much about his family that he commuted every day. Guess what? This man cared so much about his political career that he commuted every day, right? Like I could take the same fact and we've created a myth, and he did it for 40 years. God bless him, that he was this incredible family man. And instead, what he really was a craven political animal that it was desperate. The man considered or ran for president every 4 years he was eligible. You know why he didn't run in 76? He wasn't 35 yet. That's the only reason.
Now, the sad part is that they're only saying the truth now because it doesn't matter. Because it wasn't that long ago when guys just like Todd said that this was just a narrative, that the former president was fine mentally. We all remember that. And while they avoided it during his term, they're now openly talking about it. I'm not sure, but they may have realized that telling the American people the truth is the way to become popular. And so here's my question. Is the Democratic Party headed in the right direction? Now, I want to share a recent live stream of mine where I cover these tariffs that everybody's worried about. We're now getting threats from countries like China and Canada, although many people predict that they're all going to have to play ball with President Trump. Make sure you guys check that out after this video because it's probably going to be affecting our expenses. As always, appreciate you guys hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you next. The left has officially proven to each and every one of us that they are the party of hate. Bunch of hate nasses. They are the party of division. And as much as they want to project that onto President Trump, it's just not working. Which brings me to a special part of his address. Watch.
Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
That hug, it says it all, guys. DJ has been fighting cancer since he was diagnosed at 7. Back then, he was only given a few months to live. He was also a victim of bullying last year when others saw him wearing a police uniform. And as you saw, he was wearing one again during his joint Congress, which shows just how much he admires our police force. But despite the inspiration and admiration that many of us have or actually receive from DJ, MSNBC's Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow, they choose to spread hate yet again. Watch.
But I think this was a lesson in finding one thing that you let yourself feel. And I let myself feel joy about DJ. And I hope he's alive for another, 95 years, right? And I hope he lives and the life he wants to live. He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. And maybe when you have childhood cancer, that crystallizes for you. And I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide. And I hope he isn't one who has to testify against the people who carried out acts of seditious conspiracy and then live to see Donald Trump pardon those people.
If anybody from MSNBC is listening, these are your hosts. You were able to rid yourself of Joy Reid. I think it's time to get rid of Wallace and Rachel Maddow to follow her out the door, because they didn't have to comment on this moment, at least not that way. They could have just let it be, but that's not in their nature. And to say that this is disgusting would be an understatement, because she makes it seem as